Yes, yes,
Oh, super. Thank you so much.
yes. The recording has started. Now we can get started, Jeff. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you too. I share my screen. Okay. I think you see me now.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hello everyone. I hope you are doing well. Let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Jean-François Aprea. I live in France. I am 60 years old and I've been working on Microsoft infrastructure for over 40 years now. Before starting, thanks a lot for the organization of the event, to allowing me to present this session with my colleague Cefala. But today my colleague cannot be with me because he have a personal little problem. So I am with you for this session only. So thank you so much. I start the session. We are going to talk about zero trust, and of course, it is the principal subject of this session, and all the new features with Microsoft Entra, and how to secure the Microsoft Entra ID tenants. So you have the agenda. I have a lot of slides, so I try to talk quickly to be in the timing. So sorry for that. Um, the the most important thing maybe it is the end of the session with all our God practices with now 12-step action plan. So often when we talk with a customer about the security in the tenant perspective, with in a hybrid cloud perspective, there is a lot of constraints that we have, and we must to go ahead to implement the best practice to have a better hybrid cloud solution in production. So all these reasons are true, of course, but really it is often too many bad reasons. So to continue, we can see that Microsoft do a lot of work to secure the hybrid cloud. We know how is Active Directory on premises, and we know how is concerning security Azure Active Directory, now called Microsoft Entra ID. All is based through the respect of zero trust principle and the policy engine you can see here on the slide on the setup with policy enforcement. So because the idea is to implement all these principles, we can go to a more secure environment in the cloud part, of course, and we talk a little about the on-premise part because we have Active Directory today. Maybe one domain, maybe a lot of domain for some customers. So the three pillars you must always try to implement is to do a strong authentication with modern protocol. So we are going to talk about all the work done by Microsoft engineering team to have a better protocol infrastructure to authenticate the customer when it connect on the on-premise network and of course on the cloud network in Azure. Always respect the least privileged access principle, and with in particular for a very important person and high privilege user, and consider to assume breach like a firewall. So the idea is really to block all what you can block. Um, we have discovered there's some months that Microsoft do a lot of work around the identity and access management solution with Microsoft Azure Active Directory. Microsoft Azure Active Directory is really a big success. You can see all the application you can consume in the cloud, all connected to Azure Active Directory and modern protocol as OpenID Connect. And maybe we can say that today we are in the step two. The ID is based on Microsoft Azure Active Directory, now called Entra ID. It is time to develop a lot of services around this fundamental pillar. So identity governance, it's a new model. Workload ID to manage all security principle. Service security principle is a very important modules with an additional licensing, permission management, a product acquired by Microsoft to secure Azure object and object in another cloud as Google Cloud Platform and Amazon. And the new important features to implement zero trust principle in the network part with internet access and private access security solution. It's not available today. It's only on preview, but you can understand that Microsoft want to secure the end-to-end connection, communication, authentication, and all exchange between the customer computer and the tenant. About licensing, nothing changed, if I can say so. It is the same thing, only the name are changing and new licensing for the new component as Microsoft Entra Permission Management or Microsoft Entra Governance. So I go to the next slide. A little focus on the zero trust network architecture with Microsoft to provide global security access. The idea is really to tunnel the connection, the exchange on the Microsoft Cloud and the corporate network. So we have two type of connectivity. The first, we connect the corporate directly to Microsoft network, and the other is when the user is not in the corporate network, and for that, a little client is installed on the computer, and a secure connection is created between the computer and the global access network. So it is a very good approach to really secure the communication with the cloud and to bypass to the legacy solution as a traditional VPN, etc. The two type of client connectivity and corporate remote network connectivity to access the Microsoft Cloud. Nothing to say like this. Um, um, maybe because it is very specific connectivity, you must think about it's not only a VPN tunnel. There is a lot of filtering based on applications. So this type of connectivity requires that the application must be totally supported to be running well. So for today, Microsoft support Microsoft Exchange, SharePoint, but the list of application will be strongly extend when the product arrives in GA. So what new with Microsoft Entra Security in terms of new features? Because of course, the enterprise is based on the two parts. The first part on-prem features with Active Directory, and the next version Windows Server VNX with a new security perspective for Active Directory, but it is not really now. next year, of course, and today in Azure. And a lot of things happen in Azure each month. So if we do a little focus on November, December news, we can see that Microsoft decides to push some Microsoft managed conditional access policy uh, to have a better level of security in the tenant when the customer do not use as all the best practices recommended by Microsoft. So if you have the good licensing, so Entra ID P1, and you do not use access policy today, conditional access policy today, so maybe you are eligible to receive this specific conditional access policy. It's very important to force the tenant to be more secure. Maybe something not so important, but very useful in the day-to-day life. The availability to use security attributes, sorry, in Microsoft Entra ID. So very useful if you are running script and you want check some value to do some things. Now we have these security attributes to play with. New application in the Azure ID application gallery, and certainly more important thing, the support of FIPS compliance with Microsoft Authenticator. It's very important to support passkeys. We talk about passkey in some minutes, and it's why I write this in a red color. And something I was surprised, but in fact, it's a very good idea. I think the support for the moment in preview of WhatsApp to exchange SMS to do ME more securely than simple SMS. So it's a good vision, good approach to exchange securely, because you know WhatsApp is scripted. So very cool features for the moment in preview in India, Indonesia, and New Zealand. But maybe the most important things are in October with web signing for Windows 11. Web signing for Windows 11 permits you to do a true MFA with Azure Active Directory directly on your computer. So in the near future, if we can implement a lot of computers natively in Wizard in Azure Active Directory without adherence on Active Directory with Azure AD hybrid chain. It will be a good feeling to have a strong authentication on the computer with the Azure MFE directly on Windows 11. It is always it is also, sorry, available on Windows 10 with the good updates. And device passkey, device-bound passkey as an authentication method. I'll talk about that in the next slide. So just a little focus on the web signing for Windows 11 new features that you can use today if you want. So the idea is to enable the feature. You can enable the feature by manipulate the registry on the local computer, or to use Intune and to enable web signing in the authentication category. And after that, you can use the feature. So it is very interesting to see that, of course, you can all is based on Windows 11 for Business. The implementation is very user friendly. It's very beautiful to use, and the the most important point to note is maybe, of course, because it is an authentication based on Azure AD. Firstly, you must you must be connected to the cloud to authenticate to your computer with Azure AD and web signing for Windows 11. Not possible to have cached credential as we do on a traditional uh, conf uh, uh, computer when the computer is in hybrid Azure AD join, and this feature is only available when the computer is set up in Entra join, only in this mode, not hybrid. It is important. You have a lot of demo on the Microsoft side. Here today, I have no time to show you, but you can see it. It's very easy to use. Maybe it is the good moment to talk just 1 minute on what is passkey. You have listened a lot, I think, a lot of security provider, as Ubico, Microsoft, Google's, Apple, of course, said passkey is a future to go to passwordless world. So it is the next step in the passwordless journey. And the big principle are, of course, it is multi-factor. Of course, it is phishing resistant, and of course, the end user must own some information to do the authentication. So the idea is to use public key and private key principle. So not really new principle. It is always the same basics. But today the idea is to have a private key store securely on the device, public key registered on the application on the cloud, and to secure each communication, each connection, each authentication with this type of new passkey principle. It is based on modern protocol because it is a technology presented by the FIDO Alliance, and of course, it is the step to use FIDO all the days. So all is based on the WEDO 10 protocol, and the idea is to have this new passkey usable across all type of devices, your phone, your tablet, your computer, and with two types of implementation. Passkey was developed to be to support different type of scenario. Maybe first of all, to secure the internet, um, the capacity to sync the user passkeys across all its devices. So a very usable feature for public user. But for the enterprise, it is not the good feeling. And in this case, the implementation model will be based on device-bound passkeys for access on the single machine only for a lot of security. So passkey is really fundamental for the future to go to a passwordless world. And Microsoft do a lot of work to implement all the work um, with the with the FIDO Alliance, sorry, I searched my words, to the FIDO Alliance to implement all the standard. It is available today in Windows 11, so you can use passkey. If you want to try, you can use passkey with GitHub. It's available today. It is running, and on all web service on the web that support passkey. Today, Microsoft Entra ID do not support passkey, but it is planned to be available in Q1. So it's very good news to be able to use passkey to authenticate with to Azure AD Active Directory. Okay. Uh, Now we have seen all the new features proposed by Microsoft the last months. The idea is to focus on the zero trust vision and on the three pillar and to zoom in little details. So to verify explicitly, it is very important to have a super modern protocol to authenticate the utilizer, of course, with no fetchable, MFA, etc. For today, it is important to use Azure AD hybrid on machines often because maybe if the computer is only Azure AD join, maybe we have some incompatibility to access on-premise application, etc. So for the moment, we can say that Azure AD hybrid join is the most usable configuration for the computer. But if you can go ahead with Azure AD join computers, it is a good feeling to go now. Of course, in point management, to manage all the endpoint with a Microsoft solution or a non-Microsoft solution, but we know how Microsoft Intune and Configuration Manager are very powerful today. With a good level of features, and of course try to implement passwordless with Windows 11 for Business and FIDO2 keys. For the least privileged access part, of course, implement conditional access. Okay, conditional access is the heart of the Azure Active Directory security plan, and it is very important to restrict the type of access in for different type of user, different type of resources, etc. So very important. Use PIM, of course, with the good licensing. You must have P2 licensing to use PIM, but it is very important to limit the privilege tokens usage. Very important for administrative usage, of course, and for very important person to secure your tokens, their tokens. Restrict user consent to application and manage entitlements with the good licensing with Azure DP2 and assume breach. So we must to consider that maybe it is possible we have a breach in the system. So we must to anticipate all this fact, and if it is possible with your licensing, use Entra ID identity protection. Maybe it is the most important part, and protect the on-premise part with Defender for Identity MDI, because it is so important to secure your on-prem Active Directory domain controllers, forests, etc. So focus on the keychain because we know it is possible to break Active Directory, but it is possible to attack and to break Azure Active Directory. So we must to consider all all the principle of the protection of traditional infrastructure with Azure Active Directory. It's true, Azure Active Directory is very, very modern, very, very secure. So um, we have a good confidence on that, it's true. But you can have some misconfiguration or some limitation from Microsoft, and and um, and the problem exists with Azure Active Directory too. So the first step is always the discovery of the environment with non-authenticated dialect between the attackant and the tenant. For example, you can start for searching for valid email account, and once you have detected it is a valid email account, you can start to do spraying password sparing attacks. After that, if you arrive to have a user authentication, you can start to discover another things in the tenants. And of course, with Azure AD Connect, if there is a security issue on the Active Directory environment, it is it 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 is so easy to use script once you have an admin account on the Azure Connect VM to bypass the channel to the tenant and to be a global admin. So it is very important to secure your Azure AD Connect VM. Here you can see you can use some PowerShell modules to select to obtain some information concerning the tenant and to discover a lot of things. And once you have some key information, you can manipulate this information with traditional tools like Mimikatz. So, how to be more secure concerning the authentication to your tenant? In fact, you do not have a lot of solution. The idea is really to use MEFI with FIDO security key. It's really the best method to be strongly secure on your authentication to Azure. So, for admin accounts, for very important person, maybe on mobile computers, mobile devices, it is a good idea to use security key with FIDO2 protocol to be secure on the authentication. Concerning the attack in the middle, that we can be confronted to. Here you have a summary of what are the good and the not good practices, if you want. So use security key with the other protocols based on a good user experience with Windows Hello for Business. You can use Azure certificate-based authentication. Okay, it is more complex to deploy because you must enroll users with certificates, etc. But it is really, really, really secure. So it's why we prefer to recommend FIDO2 security case. Of course, do not use passwordless phone signing, phone and SMS, and only passwords because for really it is not secure. Concerning the zero trust network architecture and conditional access, conditional access is used with is usable with ZTNA. You can use Intune. You can it is required to deploy hybrid as a John machines. You can play with trusted condition. So we can see that all is done by Microsoft to have a protected environment if you do if you use ZTNA solution for the moment in preview, of course. So maybe a good step by step to mitigate the attack in the middle phishing today. First, adopt a zero trust approach, deny access from all unmanaged computers, devices. Use strong authentication, passwordless, or Azure CBA. Uh, Security key, of course, Windows Hello for Business, of course, trusted location, of course. So, check the compliance of the computer, of course. Block MFE environment from external networks, and in the future use Microsoft Entra Internet Access so, to secure the access from end-to-end endpoint. So now, how to have a good approach to secure the M365 environment with Office, with the identity, with the data, etc. You can see here on this slide a modular approach. First, really strengthen your credential. Second, reduce the attack surface. Third, extend detection and response. On this part, I talk about very quickly Microsoft Defender for Identity, but it is a very important component to deploy on your domain controllers to to uh, to to protect in real time all the behaviors on the on-prem part because of the hybridation, the risk exists because of that. So it is important to do a lot of work on the on-premise network to be strongly secure on the Azure network. Identity governance, and after that, external identities if it is important for you. Don't forget workload identities. It is a new feature in Azure Active Directory. This new feature requires a specific licensing. You must to pay for each workload identity you want to protect. Maybe in the future we can hope Microsoft do a little effort to integrate these features in the existing licensing, maybe in P2, because it's another cost to add to be more secure, and sometimes customers are not okay with that. Of course, implement a good management of privileged access with Power Workstation, Fido2 usage, and a good access model. And after all of this, manage all the operation with logs, with monitoring, etc. To be able to do forensics, etc. Some quick wins, because some default value are enabled on the tenant, and it is not a good idea to have these features enabled if it is not required by your environment. So I do more quickly on this slide, but you can disable a lot of little features to be more secure. Concerning the guest access, it is really important. Concerning the branding, it is maybe some customers do not do branding, but it is a strong recommendation from Microsoft to implement the branding because it is the confidence you expose to your users. So it is important to do that. Hardening Active Directory, I talk about this very quickly on this block, but the principle is to monitor your circle score, to implement Azure MFA for all your users, to use password protection. It is a good feature that you can use to to block not authorized type of password with password list. Create, of course, emergency break glass account. It's very important for you if you have an issue problem to be an admin, a global admin in your tenant. So emergency icons are very important. And protect your Azure AD integrated application, of course. Conditional access, I talk about that a moment. And focus one, enforce your secret. Effectively, we talk about this. There's some slide. The use of FIDO2 key is very important. And a list of little best practice. Do not synchronize, do not enable synchronization on privileged account located on premises to the cloud. Sometimes we can see this you can see this bad configuration on some tenants. It's really a problem. All this type of accounts must be restricted only in the Azure Active Directory tenant, not on-prem.
Hi, Jep. Sorry, this is Mandeep. Just to inform you, you have 3 minutes left for your session. Just time check.
Thank you. Thank you. Of course, implement all you can do to harden your MFA. Today, all is enabled by default on the new deployed tenant, but on all tenant, you must control this type of settings. It is very important because maybe you are using MFA and you think you are secure, but you must verify that you cannot be confronted to MFA fatigue attacks. Conditional access, implement some conditional access policy. Do it only in a report mode at the beginning and after implemented. A new feature available for some protected for some months protected action is very useful to restrict via conditional access policy who can use some action in the tenant. So it is a very powerful granular possibility for the management part. I'm going to go more ahead because I must respect the timing for my colleague to the next session, and maybe a very important part here I want to talk with you, to you, is really to implement a privileged access workstation. It is very important to separate a traditional device that you use for all your day-to-day tasks and management devices. It's very important to not have a different type of token on the same machine. So implement virtual machines specifically for that, or maybe physical machines specifically for that to be more secure. Um, um, uh, Very important to implement all the big standard to protect your infrastructure with a tier model. So we have a model for the legacy part with Active Directory and a new one for Azure Active Directory, and you can use the two to have a beautiful implementation to secure all the different stack of the on the infrastructure. So look this document, it's very important for you. Conclusion. Maybe the important point is Microsoft do a lot of work to implement the zero trust to the network stack. With its ZTNA approach in public preview today. You can test this, you can enroll to test it. So if you are interested by that, do it. It's very usable. You use the scenario and you can try. It's a good approach to implement a good solution to secure the end-to-end connection. And maybe another recommendation, please take a little time to look at the Microsoft Digital Defense Report because you have a good summary on all the issue detected by Microsoft security team on the cloud, on Azure, but not only on the cloud. So you have a lot information to 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 consider to have a better understanding of the cybersecurity problem we have today to have a better network. Think hybrid. Maybe it is the last slide. Because we know that all the components are interconnected, it is important to think hybrid. So the feeling here is really to consider that Active Directory must be strongly secure. Maybe stop all Exchange server if you can. I try to speech very quickly to say the more important because some customer have today a good Active Directory, but have Exchange server on their network, and these servers are not really maintained as they must. So try to stop all Exchange server because a lot of security issue, and of course, if there is a security issue on Exchange, it is dangerous for Active Directory, it is dangerous for Azure AD Connect, and so it is dangerous for your Azure AD tenant. It is a last slide. Maybe a good sentence to conclude. Stay current, stay secure, stay supported with Microsoft product, but with non-Microsoft product. Of course, you use JV, you use .NET, you use a lot of framework, you use a lot of specific application. All this part must be secure to have a globally secure environment. And if some part are not secure because it is not possible for you, you must to implement specific control measure. You understand to limit the exposition and to limit the danger. So I thank you all to be with me today. I wish you a super session for the next session, and thank you so much to be